Well, thank you very much, Danny, and welcome everyone to hear me talk about Guar. Hopefully after my session you'll know a little bit more about what Guar is. You'll all realise that you likely use it every single day, and then I'll pose some interesting questions at the end because Guar can potentially be a little bit out of the box to our traditional thoughts and plans of where agriculture can head into Australia. So my discussion is about Guar as a new industry for the Australia's north. What I'll talk about is Guar in Australia, the products and the markets that Guar can be utilised in. Have a look at an example of expanding agriculture generally in Australia and where Guar fits into supporting its own expansion, but also the support to other parts of the agricultural industry. Have a think about what our R&D strategy is. As mentioned, we're right at that new stage of development, and so a lot of work in the R&D sector has to happen. Think about our steps towards commercialisation and the future. So when I first started with thinking about Guar, which was back in June 2011, I'm based in central Queensland, and originally I was looking for an alternate crop for my clients to grow up there in rotation with sorghum. We're having difficulty with sorghum from the marketing perspective and some agronomic issues around herbicides resistance for grasses and low soil fertility, particular nitrogen. And when I eventually found Guar, I did some research on it and where it had been in Australia and found very little detail and couldn't get a hold of any seed. And then one afternoon I decided to play around on Google, as you do, and came across a firm in Texas that had about 10 years experience in Guar. Googled sent them an email online, not expecting a response. And the very next morning I had a Texan talking down the phone to me saying, "Hello, Tony, Matchett. We've been looking for you and we think we've got some business to do down under. So we'll be there in 2 weeks, and if you can hang on till then, I think we want to catch up with y'all." I said, "Thank you, Clint." So that's when the path of Guar in Australia started again. And if you look at Guar, Guar's been trialled in Australia for at least the last 40 years, in Queensland and the Northern Territory primarily. And as an industry, it's failed for a number of reasons, and that's been some agronomic features, particularly around delivering new varieties that are high performance, adapted to Australia and pure seed, having a production system and understanding where Guar fits in, where it should be grown, what soil types, etc. And then also right through to the other end of the supply chain to what the market demand is for the product, what quality the Guar has to be, and we were never able to tie all of those things together. But there was some great research done back in 2004 by Dr. Kim Bryson from UQ in a value chain analysis funded by Verdict back then on the steps that could be undertaken to create a successful Guar industry in Australia. And effectively I used that in consultation with our partners in Texas to develop our business plan so that we addressed the key issues that were raised back then to formulate how we were going to initiate our business. So our plan is to integrate a business model from planting seed research and releasing new varieties to growers, all the way through to developing a quality grain production model through best management practices, take into our system the industry-leading processing that the Texans do, and then some world-class product manufacturing. The features and benefits of Guar. As a crop, it's a very drought-tolerant, heat-loving plant. 90% of the crop in the world is grown in the northwest desert regions of India and Pakistan. So Rajasthan in India is the largest producing state of Guar in the world. it loves heat. It's very different to a lot of other crops where you try and time for summer crops the flowering outside the peak of the heat. That's exactly what I want to try and achieve in growing guar. And if anyone sat in on the Bureau's presentation in the earlier session this afternoon, this last year has been the hottest year on record, and where I have been able to get guar planted and successful, it has been fantastic for guar this year. It's a legume, so it has additional benefits that it has something to offer the crop cycle and the rotation by fixing atmospheric nitrogen and having significant amounts of that left over in the system for subsequent crops. We also are developing our production contract for growers on a low production basis to minimise the risk and the increased potential adoption by growers. So one thing we do is we supply them the planting seed at no cost. For a lot of other industries, that can cost a lot of money, but we see that as an investment in growers adopting it, putting some skin on the table, so that if for whatever reason the crop is a failure, we've lost something in that investment, and then we can say next year, let's go and do it again. Some of the other components of it being a low production cost crop is obviously the benefit of being a legume, so it doesn't need nitrogenous fertiliser. And it has the benefit of not being prone to attack of most insect pests, but the most important one is Heliothis, so we don't have to control grubs. And generally, if grown in the right time of the year and we get a nice hot season, disease risk is usually quite low as well. One of the other benefits though, where we can slot it in, is we have the capacity to make it a multi-purpose enterprise. So that can either be as a green manure crop, as a fodder crop cut for hay, or taken all the way through to grain. We've also developed a stable marketing system for growers and also for the consumers. So if you think about normal commodity markets, they go up and down. They don't give a damn whether or not it's above or below the cost of production for the producer, and so you get changes in the supply or the demand, and then prices apparently follow that same model. Given the strong demand there is for guar products globally, and that will continue, that there's customers that have to have guar to maintain profitability and expansion in their business. So they're willing to sign long-term supply agreements at a high but stable, sustainable price to their business, that it remains profitable. But as long as that figure converts to a price to growers that ensures that it's profitable for them to grow it, the system works. And those contracts also have built into them a level of tolerance for the consumer to manage, but also a price increase every year. So the grower knows that it's not going to be a one-off scenario of profitable returns, it's going to improve each year. And we're going to do some localised primary processing, and I'll talk about that as we go. Factors guiding the adaptability of guar in Australia: we have to have well-drained soils. That's the key to the success of growing guar. It's traditionally grown on lighter textured soils, the sands and the loams, but we're proving this year that we can grow them on heavy clays in irrigation situations as long as it's on raised beds. We need a hot summer, and as we move into the northern regions of Queensland, the Territory and WA, we also have the potential of growing a spring crop as well. We've got soil temperature thresholds for the seed to germinate. It's a 4-month crop that basically works on neutral day growth but heat unit accumulation. And the critical component of getting high pod set and high yields is warm autumn nights when those pods are filling to have a successful crop. And we're trying to time the maturity of the bean at the end of the summer storm period, given that we're growing it in the northern regions of Australia. And what I'm hoping to do, and this ABARE conference gives me a good opportunity to catch up with researchers and look at doing things like mapping the key things that make guar successful and adapted. Hopefully I can draw maps to show where that could potentially be and when the ideal sowing periods would be to get the right temperature. So guar. I can't show you, and I'm glad it's not as daunting as the side next door where I've got a big picture of my ugly head up there as well. But guar is a small seed about the size of sorghum. 50% of the guar is a high quality protein meal. So I've got here, not that there's no one here from the Federal Police, is there? No, because I've got some white powder in here, but I'll talk to you about that later. The bean is 50% protein, as I said. The outside hull makes up a further 22%, and the endosperm that most of you will know as the vegetable gum makes up 28 to 30%. In terms of an overview of the processing steps and the markets that we put the various byproducts into, once the guar's harvested, and we use traditional headers to do that, we clean the bean just to remove sticks, stones and metal. We run it through a very aggressive mill because the seed itself is very, very hard, to crack that bean in half, and then run it over a sifter basically to separate the protein meal from what we refer to as crude cracks. And as I said, that protein meal is around 50% crude protein, an excellent base of amino acids and minerals. So our plan is to develop that product into the livestock industry, both intensive feedlots and pastoral-based activities, but also other feed industries like aquaculture. After that, we go through the dehulling process, which again uses another mill to take that outer shell off the endosperm, and that comes out as a very dense powder that's used in environmental applications like dust minimisation and soil erosion control. And then the final step in processing is powdering that endosperm to create the guar gum, and it is a nice white 400 mesh white powder. I'm addicted to it. You would know other white powders that other people may be addicted to, but you never put this stuff up your nose because it'll block. We have no waste in the system, so if 100 tonne goes in, we basically bring out 100 tonne of those various products. There's no artificial products used. We use heat, water and gas to work burners. And those first three steps, the cleaning, splitting and separating, one of our plans is to try and make that step mobile, because we have the potential of growing this bean from Nyngan in the south, right through Queensland up to the Gulf, across into the Territory and then the Kimberley and Ord of WA. So we manage a vast area where we need to manage a significant supply chain or the exposure to freight and logistics. So if we can take that processing plant to where the guar's grown, split that bean, we're able to supply that protein product into the market where the bean is being grown, and that's reduced our weight by 50% to bring it back to a centralised processing plant to continue through to the dehulling and powdering. And one thing that we do is treat each of those components separately, whereas some of the processing that is carried out in India, you don't often get the separation of the protein meal from the hull, which can take value out of both of those components. This slide is a historical perspective of the industries that guar gum is used in. So the oil industry, oil and gas, we always hear about the controversy of fracking. Guar is the frack gel. It's used to add viscosity and volume to the slurry that's pumped down the wells, reduces friction loss. It's able to hold 100 times its weight in water, so it allows sand to flow like a liquid. So it's got an important part to play in environmentally aware fracking, because we need to be able to supply this to the mining industry so that the use of non-natural alternatives is removed. But it's also in the food industry. Maggie beer uses guar in her ice cream. So guar in ice cream is used to hold the icicles inside the ice cream to give it that nice mouthfeel. Everyone should be eating their gluten-free biscuits as well, because the guar is a sticky compound as well, so it's what helps hold gluten-free foods together. It's in sauces, dressings. You all used it this morning, potentially in your shampoo or conditioners. I bet all of you, when you go home or in the morning, wash your hair, if you've got hair, you'll have a look on the side of the bottle and look for guar. Or in foods, and you look at vegetable gums, you'll be looking for guar or the number 412. So you'll find yourself doing shopping a little bit different to how you used to. It'll be protein, carbs, fat. Has it got guar in it? Tick, we'll take that one. At the moment, yes, we import all of it. I'll get to the statistics of import shortly. But it's also used in textiles, paper, explosives, pharmaceuticals. The places where guar pops up, for some of its characteristics are incredible. So these are some graphs from ABS on historical guar gum imports. So the protein in the hull basically hasn't entered Australia, so the use and value of those products really hasn't been tapped into. So you can see in the earlier years, that's the accumulated imports of those 6 years. So from 91 to 97, the total accumulated guar imports was about 2.5 million kilos. That had grown for the 2000 to 11 period to just over 5 million. But last year alone, that was nearly 7 million kilos of guar for just 1 year. And most of the growth in that is due to the expansion of the oil and gas industry. When you talk about that as whole grain equivalent, which I use to forecast where my production base has to be, last year the whole grain equivalent to produce the same amount of gum that we used last year was just shy of 25,000 tonne of guar. If you talk on average around a 1.5 tonne to the hectare yield potential on dry land and double that on irrigation, you get a feel of where I need to start to head with this production crop to keep up with domestic demand. And so given that the last point on there is a single year, whereas all the other previous periods are accumulation of grouped years, it doesn't quite show the true exponential growth in the imports and the demand of guar in Australia, which is replicated in places like the US and China. One of the interesting things that we saw last year is a drop-off in the production of the crop out of India, a surge in demand from oil and gas companies in the US in particular, with Australia as well, that for the past 20 odd years, the import value of guar had been around $10 million. Last year though, based on the increasing demand but more particularly price, the cost of imports of guar into Australia shot up to a bit over $9 a kilo on average in 2012. Now $9 a kilo is not a sustainable price, and it's not actually a real price. It was created by a group of rogue traders in the Indian futures market. March 26, they suspended the guar bean and the guar gum futures contracts because there was some dodgy dealings going on. So it inflated the price a lot higher than what was reality. It's nowhere near those levels at the moment, but still at a very profitable, sustainable price from a grower's perspective. And so for us, it's about identifying what that long-term sustainable price is to customers to ensure they continue to use guar across their industries, and that we can still afford to work with the other important industries in Australia, and we see that particularly in the food industry. Some of the industry challenges we have, we all know about the volatility in the Australian climate. I wear 20 different hats on any given day. I'm the administration manager, plant breeder, business development manager, coffee maker, R&D expert. So I'm trying to juggle all of those jobs, trying to get a new industry started, and I'm looking forward to the potential of developing a partnership with Rurik on the R&D side of it, because we've got so much to do to ensure that over the next 5 or 10 years we deliver to grow as a new industry that's going to work, is going to be sustainable, and is going to succeed and be around for years to come. Having it recognised as a crop of choice is also a challenge. They know how to grow mung beans, they know how to grow cotton. Why bother trying to grow a new crop? So that's one of the hurdles I face. I'll pose some questions at the end about the ability to take advantage of natural resources, and when you think about the north, the expansive areas of land and the expansive volumes of water that are there, how can we take advantage of them to grow this industry but also protect cattle? I've got to speed up. Sorry, I am addicted to this. I sniffed some guar on the way in. The distance is a big thing for us. The cost of doing business in Australia is a current hurdle we're facing. Labour costs more, manufacturing equipment costs more, land costs more. So to do work on that side of it, because I'm basically working for an American corporation to replicate their business here in the Southern Hemisphere. They're trying to get their head around having to pay me more money than the CEO of the company because I live in Australia. Cost of land manufacturing. That's the area I'm looking at. Next 3 weeks I'm touring basically from Brisbane up to Cairns, across to Darwin, and then into the Kimberley and Orb, where there's some pretty exciting diversification going on that will open some doors. I've probably got more information about the Australian North on my website if you want to see that, but there's a perfect opportunity to tie guar production into the pastoral regions and the pastoral activities. They're the dominant feature of those areas, but there's an opportunity that they can grow a cash crop and produce their own local protein to add sustainability to their business. Click. So that's what that opportunity is about, and I'm actually excited, and I shouldn't be, and please don't throw anything at me for saying climate change for me and rising temperatures are a good thing, but you won't hold that against me. Some of the R&D priorities. A lot of that is getting it right for the grower and setting up the integration into other parts. So the future of guar in Australia, for me, I need to release new varieties this summer, which is the first thing I need to deliver, because 2 years ago we had no planting seed in Australia of commercially viable varieties. I need to ensure that it's adapted and we're growing the right varieties in each region. Start working on the product processing and the development of markets for things like the protein and the hull, and continue to develop it so that we are a mature industry in 10 years' time, and have worked through that life cycle model that Rurik have that will be fantastic for us. So our objectives is to be recognised as a significant grain legume, be part of what I think needs to be reviewed and look back at that northern region as the food bowl, contribute significantly to the growth of agricultural opportunities in marginal and remote areas of Australia, strengthen our hold in some of the product utilisation, and there's some pretty exciting opportunities we think we've got there. And with our global partnership with West Texas Guar and Clint Forbes from West Texas, we think we've got something really good to offer. The economic value of guar down under, sorry Danny, is quite exciting, and we look forward to really showcasing that over the next few years. And this ABS conference and a lot of my time is spent networking, trying to have other people help me get addicted to it, find out what the potential is in their industry or their area of research, and join the ride. Just a couple of questions to ponder. If we were to put Australia above the Tropic of Capricorn on any other continent in the world, would it be different to what it is here in Australia? Would it be dominated by pastoral activities, or would it be populated with thriving regional communities and those assets and resources up there utilised? Is the Great Artesian Basin more than a national icon? Are we able to utilise that asset and all the work that's going on at the moment to improve the security of that artesian basins that's creating fantastic savings of water? Is some of that water available to be utilised on the expansive areas of land? Does the state governments have to be the major significant landholder in those regions? Is there more opportunities to generate some capital for state governments and free up some investment for freehold? And ensuring that Australian farmers are recognised as world-class resource managers. They're not there to abuse or destruct their resources. They want to manage them and be sustainable. And I think we often get lost in what the argument is and where we want to be growing our agricultural industry to meet these targets. So my point is almost that, yes, we've got productivity to manage and make those minute gains, but I think when you talk about scarcity of resources, I actually think that's a little bit of a myth. Amen. Go Guar.